All Hit Radio.
Welcome to the X Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
And welcome back to the X Zone, everyone. I'm Rob McConnell, and for the next 2 hours, I'm your host and your guide as together we cross the time-space continuum to this place that I call the X Zone. It's a place where people dare to believe and dare to be heard. It's a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. And the X Zone comes to you Monday through Friday from 10 p.m. Eastern until midnight, right here on the X Zone Broadcast Network from our broadcast center and studios in St. Catharines, Ontario, Canada, and on your hometown radio, Classic 1220, streamed around the world on classic1220.ca. If you'd like to get a copy of the April edition of the X Chronicles newspaper, with our compliments, 92 full pages in color. Now, when I say full pages, I'm not talking about 8.5 by 11. These are real newspaper-sized pages, 11 by 17, and you read it online. There's no cost whatsoever. The website, xchronicles.net. That's xchronicles.net. And you can always contact me by email, xzone@classic1220.ca. Exonation, my first guest tonight is Miss SIENNA LEA, and we're going to be talking about multidimensional shadow work. And joining me now from Elk, I believe in the state of Washington, is SIENNA LEA. And SIENNA, welcome to the X Zone.
Thank you so much for having me. It's an honor to be here.
Well, it's great having you here, too. SIENNA, tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got to do that thing you do as a multidimensional shadow worker.
Yeah, okay, great question. Well, when I've been a truth seeker, I suppose you could use those words, since for a long, long time. Actually, to be totally transparent, since I work with shadow work, we're going to dive in a little bit to some of the dark side stuff. So fasten your seatbelts. It will hopefully won't be too brutal on your audience here. But when I was 16, I attempted suicide.
Okay.
And my awakening was at 16 years old. I'm 77 now.
God bless you.
And I had an awakening in the mental hospital because I was a kind of sheltered little girl from the suburbs. And here I was in a mental hospital with people that are called crazy. But in my book, they were the most real people I'd ever met. I saw people that were really struggling with their internal selves, with their with levels of pain and hurt and wounding that I carried inside of me. But in my pretty little plaid suburb, no one talked about any of this. And suddenly I was fascinated by the people in there, the amazing amount of hell they've been through, and their courage and their senses of humor. And I was released after I was declared cured, simply because my heart opened in that place. And I made a commitment to myself then that I would find out what was going on with what they called mentally ill. I had a roommate there that came in and would lay down and would cry and beg me to tell me her name because she'd just come back from shock therapy. I'd seen things that were so heartless, so had nothing to do with healing. So I sort of decided, well, I got to find out what real healing really is and what's really going on with people's psyche and why are they, and so on and so forth. So it's been a very long journey, and that's where it began. I then, yeah.
I understand you have a master's degree in psychology, and was your youth the catalyst for you wanting to dive as deep as you can, yet as educated as you can to make the discoveries?
Absolutely. And it was the decision to care about something more than myself that got me out of it, and for my heart to open to humanity, to what was going on around me, and the determination to do that. And so I just pulled myself out step by step. Yeah, and ended up becoming, hopefully, the kind of therapist I wish I had when I was a 16-year-old.
So how is it that we can help people to get rid of the dark side that is within them? How do we do that?
Well, actually, we don't help people get rid of the dark side.
Okay.
We help people own it and understand it and not be scared of it and integrate it as a part of them that's often deeply wounded, highly traumatized, ignored, abandoned, abused, hurt, all the things we're, polite society, we're not really supposed to talk about. We're raised to have a smiley face, to be socially appropriate, to do what our parents and the authorities in our life told us what was being a good boy and girl. And it often had very little to do with our authenticity, with our core, with the truth. And so what I help people with is becoming authentic. I know that word's used a lot.
Sure.
What does it mean?
But tell me, in all the years of experience that you have, you've got a master's in psychology. The world around us has changed over the last 20, 30 years, and yet mental illness still remains in a dark corner of the closet. Why?
No one wants to face their dark side. We're terrified of it, and we're terrified of what's inside of us because we think it's dark, even when it's not. We're told not to trust ourselves. I remember Alan Watts' book, the fear of being who we are. We are mind controlled. We are programmed to be terrified of what's inside of ourselves. That pain, all the stuff we've stuffed, all the stuff we weren't supposed to feel, and it gets bigger and it gets bigger and it gets bigger. And no one wants to talk about it. And even most of, to the best of my knowledge, most of matrix psychology is to fix people, to get them back into the slave system. I don't know if I can say these things on your radio show.
Sure, why not? It's the truth, isn't it?
I see the false matrix as a slave culture, and that we've all been trauma-based, mind-controlled to be dutiful slaves and pretend like everything's fine, to act like none of what's really true is going on, so we can keep our jobs, so we can have food on our table for our children, so we don't go to jail. And it's a part of a police state that basically, and no one will talk about that. And you don't go to therapy and talk about it because then they think you're crazy and you're paranoid.
But why are people considered crazy? Because, first of all, when you go to therapy, they want you to tell you what's deep inside, what's bothering you. They want to hear the truth. And yet, like you just said, you go in and you start telling the truth and they think you're crazy. It makes no sense to me.
Well, we're living in an insane world, double think, right? Black is white. Everything's backwards, and we're all supposed to shake our heads and agree to it. It's been this way for a very, very long time, because the dark ones who have been in charge of this false matrix have pretty much say, obey or you will be punished. You will be killed. Your children will be hurt. Most of the core wounds have core beliefs attached to them. And those beliefs can come even before we're verbal, even in the crib. Is if I don't make mommy and daddy happy, I'm not going to survive. The primary imprint is made in the first year of life, the first couple of years of life. That's our hard drive. And we're madly trying to figure out what these crazy people are doing who have no connection to us, are not present for us. were giving us no real emotional support. They may give us a wonderful house and education and all the stuff, but we have lost the value of being present in an authentic way for our children, and it's generational now. It's passed on, and if you call it, then you lose your job. You don't get the same kind of husband. Nobody wants to talk to you because you could be you're no longer an asset. You're a vulnerability. It's mind control, and all the sheeple reinforce it with one another. You stay in line. Everyone's scared. It's fear. It's massive fear.
Well, I have to be honest with you, Sienna. I'm not afraid to tell the truth. I'm not afraid to say what's on my mind. I'm not afraid to say what is up, what is down. I've been doing this show for 35 years, bringing on the most controversial subjects known to radio history. In fact, our show is the longest running talk show in Canada. And prior to that, I was a police officer. And I'll tell you, I took my job very seriously. Maybe it was because it was so long ago that the social stigma that the police have today wasn't in place, because we really believed that we were there to serve and protect. But I have never been ridiculed, criticized, or received any negativity from my peers, my guests, my friends, my family for the job I do. So what am I doing right?
Well, I don't know exactly there, but for the rest of us, I mean, most of us don't have big radio shows, and I mean, this is entertainment for people. They can listen to anything, walk away and still treat their family in the ways what I've been talking about.
Yeah.
I mean, what I'm saying is rampant in the culture, and you're obviously a wonderful exception, bringing hope. The Matrix allows people, a few people, to get through because it gives us sheeple the idea that we are free. Oh, look at Rob can say all this. We're free. Everything's fine on that radio show. They give us little crumbs, or big crumbs, to make us, and they give us some therapies that work and some things to lift our spirits because they have to. They have to make us think we're free.
You and I have to take our first break, Sienna. Please stand by. Thank you so much for joining us this hour here on the X Zone. At X Zone Nation, my guest this hour is SIENNA LEA. Her website is shadowsynthesis.com, and she's the author of Stealing the Moon, A Woman's Quest to Heal the Shadow Self. And we'll both be back on the other side of this break as the X Zone continues, right here from our studios in St. Catharines, Ontario, Canada, on your hometown radio, Classic 1220, streamed on Classic 1220 on the X Zone Broadcast Network. Don't go away, X Zone Nation. We'll be right back.
The truth at 17, that love was meant for beauty queens. In high school, girls with clear-skinned smiles who married young and then retired. The Valentines I never knew, the Friday night charades of youth.
The shadow of your smile when you are gone will color all my dreams and light the dawn. Look into my eyes, my love, and see all the lovely things you are to me. Our wistful little star was far.
Explanation, my guest this hour is SIENNA LEA. Her website is shadowsynthesis.com. Sienna, where do you think society went wrong and we've fallen entrapment and trapped in the deep state? What happened?
Well, society didn't go wrong. This place has been a prison planet for a very long time. In my understanding, this place was locked down by the overlords who are not from this world, and they have basically run everything. and we didn't see it coming. I mean, most people are good people. They wouldn't even dream in a million years the kind of evil that is at the highest levels of control of this planet. No one saw it coming. No one told us about it. And if anybody got a hint of it, often they got taken out. So it's not humanity that took a wrong turn. How do you be in a place where you're basically used as a loose slave? Your negative, your energy, your pain and suffering is fueling the agenda of the dark ones who cannot create, that need the human energy to run on. And they're brilliant. They have no hearts. They're cold-blooded, and we're their food. And we had no idea we were. It's been a masterful maneuver on multiple levels. It's very, very hard to see it now as the great shift is upon us, or whatever you want to call this. More and more people are, because it's becoming more obvious.
I like to call it the Great Awakening.
Okay, I hope we're having one. It seems that after COVID, there are a lot more people angry, and there are a lot more people shaken to the bone to realize that the governments that we put faith in are not really on our side whatsoever. And it's a very hard time now. For the people that bought into it, all these wonderful, good people that worked hard, that, supported their families, that, went to the parents' meeting that did everything they were told to do. And now they're told, well, actually, you've been serving darkness the whole time. I mean, it's a very difficult time talking about mental health. This is a very challenging time for thousands, if not millions of people who are suddenly losing faith in everything they thought was true.
SIENNA, what parts of us do the entities target, and why?
They target our trauma, our pain and suffering, our physical ailments, because they live on negative energy. They've created a matrix that makes sure that the majority of what happens here is pain and suffering. They, say, oh, you're going to live your dreams and you're going to get a great education. They put out all of the little goodies, but the real reality is that underneath it all, the majority of people have great, at times of great anguish, are physically terribly ill, and are suffering in so many ways. And this is what they feed on. They amplify and they exaggerate it, and this is also AI. The Draco reptilians, the gray insectoids, and a few other ones running around there. That's the short list. They are working with advanced alien technology that is in our bodies. The reptilian brain is an alien implant. So we're compromised, and these things are powerful tools that can keep us looping in the pain and suffering we have. A lot of people come to therapy. Why can't I get over this? Why can't I get over? And of course, there are a lot of reasons we hold on to grudges, to the people that have hurt us, to revenge. Of course, we can. But I have found, shockingly, over and over again, that they have these mechanisms that keep us looping in the pain and suffering, so that they have a consistent meal and they harvest. Loose is a big industry, It has been. It's going bye-bye, and now, thank heavens, to the work of some great people. But yes, what has been done has been atrocious, and by design. And they're allergic to love. Love is kryptonite to them. They can't stand the energy of love. They can't stand the true light.
So is it possible that these entities that are controlling us and that we are slaves to are actually the ancient gods in religious philosophies?
Oh, yeah. The false gods. Oh, yes. That's part of them. Oh, the gods. Oh, yeah. They're big manipulators, and we can get contracted to the gods, and these contracts bind us to their agendas. They torture. I work with a lot of people who have been taken and targeted in the secret space program, have gone off world, have been tortured, and usually at the point of the highest torture, they will fracture the person into alters and send them off on nefarious missions. But we are all fractured in many ways. We've been made to keep much of us hidden, and then these alters, these subpersonalities that fracture due to huge pain and suffering and sometimes torture, are then loosh machines for them. And they buy and sell loosh on the black market. These things are ending, by the way. We are moving in to a light era. The time of darkness is coming to an end. None of this is going to be permission any longer. There are many beings here and good aliens working to clean all of this up. We can clean this out of ourselves. We can engage in a connection to the true, authentic, uncorrupted creator, not these false gods. But and we can break out of this. But when we are worshiping false gods, we are giving them our energy. They're harvesting these huge religious things that are at the top. They are being hosted by false gods that are using the energy of the worshipers that are giving their energy to those false gods as loosh. I know it's very shocking, especially if I'm not saying there's no God. There absolutely is a God. There are many false ones, and those are the ones that all the major religions have gotten co-opted by, to the best of my knowledge.
In your opinion, does the top governments, the top levels of governments around the world know what's going on?
Well, which top are you talking about? Because at the top of the top, those are the operatives that are. Everything in the government is it's all a show. It's what Kimberly Ann Goldman of United Network News lovingly calls it Hollywood for ugly people. They're all serving one agenda. It's all smoke and mirrors underneath, and that one agenda is for them to get as much money and power as they can, and if they don't get it, they're quite happy to kill us all. They're busily trying to do that. It's not going to work. They no longer have the resources. They are no longer permissioned by the Creator to do this. So it's a change of era from a dark era to a light era. It's never going to change again. God also is learning. We are co-creating this with the Creator, and it's over. But we need to purge it from ourselves because we have contracted our pain and suffering. And we're often trapped in contracts with our bosses, our authority figures in our life. And we have to break those contracts. We have to understand how we got entrapped and break out to reclaim our sovereign self. We have to break out of this false matrix, stop believing in it, stop giving our energy, our money, our attention to it. Because we are the ones holding it all in place. When we're looking at all the fear porn and we're believing it all, oh, we're all going to die, and every day we're all going to die, right? And all of that is loosh. That's what they feed off of. That's why the news is always about death and destruction, and we're all going to die. You know, you very rarely see, oh, so-and-so just had, a new batch of kitties, and so-and-so's daughter is so happy. We don't see any of the good stuff, any of the courageous stuff. Why? It's all engineered to produce loosh.
Let me ask you this, SIENNA. As I understand it, based on the conversation we're having, the entities are at the top of the list, right? They are at the very top of the pyramid, let's say. So
well,
what?
Most of them are dead.
I'm sorry?
They're done. The demons that initially the people at the top were creating satanic rituals to open portals, to bring in demons, and they had control of the financial system. They've had control of everything.
Right.
All of that coming to the end. Most of the demons are gone. Lucifer is gone. Most of the gods, the false gods, have been returned to source. The false archangels have been returned. It's changing rapidly. But the ones who can't stop, they're not at the top. but they think they are. These operatives that control the politicians and control all the religions and everything, they're right now desperately running around, can't find any money, all the portals, they can't get any of the demons to come back in. The lower astral is no longer accessible to them. The hell realms are no longer, they are on their way out. And they will take us out with them if they could. They won't, but they'll do anything. They don't care. These are beyond what we imagine as what evil is. And they're the guys behind the religions, behind the politicians. They're all hiding, and they all, this may be too controversial, but most of the politicians are dead. They're wearing masks, and they have a bunch of operatives that are running them. And it's all about getting more money, because they used to have every gazillion, trillion dollars. They could get anything they wanted. They had free reign. They had taken over everything. And now their time is ending. And they are they're losing it. They're losing it. And they're running around trying to do anything. They're running around trying to do global genocide every chance they get. It hasn't worked. And we will prevail. All right,
stand by. We've got to take our break at the bottom of the hour. X Zone Nation, SIENNA LEA is our special guest this hour. Her website is, you got your pencils and papers? There you go, shadowsynthesis.com. And she's the author of Stealing the Moon, A Woman's Quest to Heal the Shadow Self. I'm Rob McConnell. This is the X Zone. We're coming to you from our broadcast center in the studios in St. Catharines, Ontario, Canada, on the X Zone Broadcast Network and your hometown radio, Classic 1220, streaming classic1220.ca. And once again, we welcome WVEX LPFM to the X Zone Nation and our broadcast affiliates. Don't go away.
Did I know when I read?
Chasing your direction, I was telling you no lies, and I was loving you. When the words are said, baby, I lose my head. And in a world of people, there's only you and I. There ain't nothing come between us in the end.
Welcome back, everyone. This is the X Zone. I'm Rob McConnell, and once again, the X Chronicles newspaper for April is now available at xchronicles.net. It's there with our compliments and the compliments of the advertisers. And all you need to do to read it online is www.xchronicles.net. And if you'd like to send me an email anytime to let me see, talk about a guest we've had, if you'd like us to bring a guest on the show, or whatever, just to say hi, let us know where you're listening to us from around this beautiful planet of ours. My email address is xzone@classic1220.ca. SIENNA LEA is my guest. Her website is shadowsynthesis.com, and she's the author of Stealing the Moon, A Woman's Quest to Heal the Shadow Self. First of all, SIENNA, thanks very much for joining us. And what was it that we did, or whoever did, that was able to break the chains that these entities had us bound in, where we were able to cast them away and try to get back to some semblance of sanity in this world of ours?
Well, we need to reconnect with our authentic self, the true energy of who we are.
Mm-hmm.
And with our true, authentic, original, uncorrupted creator. There is a creator, and we have a higher self that is a spark of the creator. And within that trajectory, we have the capacity to heal all of these wounds if we can let go of what's been done to us, if we can allow the trauma to clear, We can heal our nervous systems if we can open to the light, if we are not too addicted to the darkness. We are all, well, I can't say all, but most of the people that I know and that I work with are addicted. We have Stockholm syndrome. We're addicted to the darkness. For example, a newborn baby is born, it's a preemie, it's sexually abused, it's satanically ritually abused for the first few years of its life.
Are we talking about all babies or just certain babies?
Well, no, I'm talking about the trauma of the, well, if the people around you can't be in presence with you, then you have an issue, because we all need to be witnessed for who we are. We need to be accepted and feel safe so we can come into the body as the beings that are an anchor into this reality and be authentic. And if that wasn't allowed, which for most of us it was not everyone, then we have to create those circumstances. When I do the therapy, I create a safe environment. I help people do dives into these aspects of their trauma. We do timeline retrieval. We find the alters that have been fractured, the subpersonalities they're hiding. And a lot of them, even when we find them, they won't let go. Let's say some of them are attached to an entity has come in, like a baby's born,
Right.
and it's pretty much alone and abandoned, and a dark entity comes in and says, I'll help you, little girl. And no one else is saying anything. And so it will suck out, eat the pain and the suffering, and the child will feel a bit of relief, like a drug. And then it will come back again. The demon will appear as a friend and get the child addicted to it, while it's really harvesting the child and amplifying and exaggerating the pain. And so now I can go in, I do this often, and I remove the entity, but if I don't rehab that child, which is a soul fracture in the unconscious, an inner child, if we don't heal that child and remove the AI software and help it to bond to love and authenticity instead of evil, then those children sabotage us by keep drawing in evil and darkness. These parts of us can be addicted because that's all they knew, that's all they had, and it seems to them we're taking away the only thing they have. So I help the person become the parent to these fractured parts of themselves that need love and support, and it doesn't happen overnight because they haven't known love. They're frightened of love. It's scary for them. They don't want to be intimate. They don't want to be held, and yet that's what their soul is craving for. So that's a process of weaning off of darkness, and the whole culture needs to get weaned off of the massive addiction to darkness that we took on to quell our pain in the absence of authentic connection.
So, if this is what has happened, why hasn't the true God stepped in to protect us?
He is now, and I've had my own conversations. I help people connect directly with the Creator and work that out themselves, because a lot of people can't forgive the Creator for what's been here. And that's a long story. I couldn't do it in the time frame we have of why. But God has made a turnaround. He's called to the end of darkness now. He's cleaning things up on a massive level as never before now. Why didn't he do it before? He had covenants and contracts with the dark side, because originally it was supposed to be dark and light, and they were supposed to balance each other. But the dark would never do that. The dark just wanted more and more and more and more until it got everything. And after a very long time, the creation of matter is restructuring now, because we are no longer going to be creating with darkness and light. But this is after millions of years this has happened. Now, why? This would be a great conversation to have with one of my teachers, Kimberly Ann Gogan of United Network Earth.
Okay.
She is working directly with the Creator, and there's a great amount of information about how this shift is happening now.
But how do we know this is real? How do we know that what you're telling us tonight here and reaching around the world is in fact real.
Oh, well, people have to only know that through their own direct experience. When I work with people, I don't say, oh, this is the truth, and now you have to believe me. No, we've had people's belief systems shoved down our throats long enough. This is my reality. I'm working with it. I'm getting incredible results with people with very deep issues that are turning around. And I never say, believe me. I say, come work with me if you want to. And you see what, through your own direct experience, is the only way anyone should believe anybody. So this is my operating system based on what my truth is. I'm just sharing my truth. I don't expect you to believe it.
Sienna, how can somebody listening tonight know if they are in fact being possessed or if there's an entity inside of them controlling them?
Well, it's a very tricky issue, of course. But, and I can't say if these things are true, then you definitely have an entity. But if you have certain behaviors, certain thoughts, certain feelings, certain illnesses, if things are going really bad, if you seem to be just held down by an invisible force that no matter what you do, how much therapy you do, how much positive affirmations you do, how much, whatever, it never changes. You're just looping, you're looping, then it is worth having a look at that. Because it very often is an entity. There are most people that I know have at least one entity and AI in them by now. But how would you know for sure whether it was an entity or not? Well, it's, knowing and for sure, this is the brain, the mind, we always want to know for sure. Well, if you're working with me and if we removed it, and if suddenly you felt lighter and better and you were more positive and now suddenly you can get out of bed and you can function and you're thinking about creative things and suddenly you want to, then you'll know there was a big shift here. And I had, for example, this is one that was obvious. I work with a family with some of the children have crazy behaviors and they bring me in to remove entities. And this one, had peeing her pants problems, and she would do it maybe 15, 20 times a day. Well, we removed the entity, and it was down to like 2 or 3 times, and I haven't talked to her recently, but the shift was so obvious that they were like, oh my God. And I didn't do anything else with that child. I simply removed the entity.
So could you be considered as an exorcist?
Well, I don't, I am, but I don't call myself an exorcist because that's religious terminology, and I'm not a religious. I don't have a degree, but absolutely, that's what we're doing. We're getting the darkness out of people. There's dark acid because originally, before it is now a light universe, there was the light source or God, and there was the dark. And the dark was like at the top of the totem pole of the dark essence. And this dark essence has found its way inside of us. And it breeds, it amplifies and exaggerates all of our core wounds and our weaknesses and our negativity for harvesting. And so now we're working, sorry, I don't remember exactly the question, but we're moving to remove that dark essence, to help people gain, through their own authentic experience. What is dark in me? What is light in me? What is my authenticity? What is my ego? Yeah, but this, it's not something you come and I tell you. I don't, I believe that people should become conscious, not just go to an exorcist. And because I can remove an entity, next week you're going to come back, I'm going to need to remove another, because we're not working with the whole psychological self. If you have some inner alters or subpersonalities that are addicted to entities, then they're going to pull in another one. You have a vacancy sign all over you. And most people are not in their body. The ones that are highly traumatized, they're not in their body. So there's a vacancy sign. And they have entities jumping in all the time. So I am not just an exorcist because I think it's a waste of time. I could make a lot of money being an exorcist because you'd be coming to me for the rest of your life. I want people to be sovereign, autonomous, get these things out of them, close the doors, because nothing comes into you if you haven't left the door open somewhere.
Right. Sienna,
And it's
please stand
part
by.
of-
We've got to take our final break for this hour. Sienna Lee is our guest this hour, Exo Nation, and we'll both be back as we wrap up this hour here in the X Zone, so stay tuned. Right after this segment, there's going to be a little bit of a pause with some words from some fine people, and then we'll be going into hour number 2. This is the X Zone. I'm Rob McConnell, coming to you from our broadcast center and studios in St. Catharines, Ontario, Canada, on the X Zone Broadcast Network and your hometown radio, Classic 1220, streaming at classic1220.ca.
Only you can see me through. I leave it up to you. Do it like taking me through the night. We're running with the shadows of the night. So baby, take my hand, it'll be alright. Surrender all your dreams to me tonight. They'll come true in the end. You said, oh girl, it's a cold world when you keep it all to yourself. I said you can't hide on the inside all the pain you've ever felt. Ransom my heart, but baby, don't look back.
And welcome back, everyone. Sienna Lee is our special guest. Her website is shadowsynthesis.com. And if you'd like to find out more about Sienna, please visit her website. She's also the author of Stealing the Moon, A Woman's Quest to Heal the Shadow Self. Tell us about your book, Sienna.
Well, it's a creative nonfiction based on some of the information from my own life, as I've been had to take the journey to heal my own shadow. That's a long story. So I created the content out of what I had direct experience of, and turned it into a creative nonfiction novel. And the idea is to give people some idea of what it takes to dive into the shadow. And here's a woman, that it's a story about Natalie Stern, and she's a therapist, and she feels that her energy was hurtful to one of her clients, and she takes herself on a journey to go inside, and what is this part of me that would want to hurt anyone? And it goes on layer upon layer upon layer. So it gives people, who might be scared or interested in the subject, a wild ride through my journey about what can be in the unconscious and what we have to do to make it conscious.
I would imagine, Sienna, that there are many, many people who feel that there's something wrong. They just don't know what it is. And then they hear about you and your book, and they suddenly realize, hey, I'm not alone. How does this work? How do you feel that you've got the ability to make a positive difference in all these people's lives?
Well, I haven't been out much. I've been very intimate one-on-one sessions. I do also a group, an inner work community group. I work on Zoom. I work individually. I do free chats. So people can, if they just hear something, I want to talk to her, but I don't know if I want to do that. Or, I sometimes talk a couple hours to people. I really try to be here for whatever I can do. But it's, I'm a real in-depth worker where I really hold space. I really listen. I have all kinds of processes that can bring up subconscious material so that they can process it themselves. And they're all self-help tools, and they're things that they can take in their lives, and they won't need me forever. And there's a community of people I work with that are my students or clients, and so they support one another, because there's so many people out there hurting so bad, and they're so alone, and they don't think anybody would understand the crazy stuff that's going on, and they're afraid to tell them because nobody wants to get locked up in mental hospitals. So it's very important to be witnessed. So the inner work community is so important, because we do pairing and so that they have other people and they see other people struggling and with things they're struggling with, and they didn't know that anyone was struggling with it. And that alone helps people to open up and let go, and they start speaking their authenticity maybe the first time in their life. They're not being punished or laughed at, and that's a big part of it, is to be witnessed, to be unconditionally loved and supported no matter what's coming up, to have that kind of space held so that we can drop this stuff. So that's what I have to offer at this time.
Now, because you are so aware of what these entities were doing, were you ever in personal danger?
I get whammied regularly. I just had a really bad fall. I've been targeted with energy weapons. I sometimes have broken up rings of dark ones and retrieved souls from their command. And even though I do a lot of work to protect myself, sometimes I do get hit. Front runners get hit. That's part of the job description. I know sometimes I think I'm crazy and I should quit, but I know from the work I've done with people that there are very few people that will address this level of multidimensional shadow in the way that I do. So I want to leave a legacy. I want to get people trained. I want to have enough people understand what this is and do it themselves. So I keep on standing up for another round in the boxing ring. Yeah, I get whammied. That could be a whole other show, all the whammies I've been through.
I would imagine so. I would imagine so. So, who gave was it the creator who gave these entities the go-ahead to do what they're doing to us here on this planet?
Not exactly. He made this contract. Well, we've had light eras, dark eras, neutral eras, and we're coming right out of a dark era now. And in the dark era, the contract is that the dark and the light have equal. They can do what they do, and he could, because in my conversations with him, because I've been very angry, like, how could you let this happen? I mean, and all of my clients have to address this because we're all so wounded. How could a creator, our father, our mother allow this to happen? That's a big conversation too, to be honest. What I get is that this whole hologram is held together on covenants, on agreements, and even the creator, if he made one, he has to adhere to them until they're done. And then he can change things, and he is super wowing, changing things now. But he had to adhere to those rules. And that's what I understand in the briefest way of explaining it.
So what happens to us what happens to us when we die? Is it just another biological unit gone, bingo? Or is there a heaven? Is there a hell?
Well, there's not a hell anymore, but there is, actually there are many, there are all kinds of options. And now that all the restrictions are taking off of all the fake heavens, there were so many fake heavens and so much manipulation. After death, you didn't go to heaven or hell. There were all kind of fake hells. There were spirit traps. I get people out of spirit traps and their ancestors all the time. And the spirit traps can look like heaven, and they're just another loosh farm. And all of that's getting cleaned up now. What should happen and what will be happening going forward is that people will have a choice when they die. And no, you don't go through, somebody else doesn't say, oh, you were bad, you have to go back to Earth. That's BS. You make your own choices, and you can have a wide range of experiences. That was all taken from us. When the dark locked this down, it wasn't just while you're alive, it was also while you're dead. And that's getting cleaned up as well. Again, a long conversation.
Where do you see the future, or how do you see the future?
Well, it's going to take a while because we've got 8+ billion people here. And they all have been indoctrinated and mind-controlled for many decades. It's not just MK Ultra. Everyone's been MK Ultra. So we have such a crazy thing going. And we have the dark not the higher levels. They're all gone. All the portals are closed. That's all cleaned up. But the ones here, they won't let go of control. Now, I think that things are going to collapse. And I think that new systems are going to be, there will be a restoration. And the people will finally get this planet. They will need to be educated. They'll need to be trained. They'll need to be learned. But the new era is restoration of Earth. That we, the people, don't need governments. We don't need authorities. We can go direct to the Creator. We can, and we need to. We need to grow up. Humanity has been in eternal infancy, believing that mommy and daddy were doing we're God. And God was God, and everybody knew everything, and we were just totally safe. Here we were in the arms of Satan, thinking we were fine. And we're getting to know that that's not true, and people are waking up. There's going to be a huge amount of shift and change. There's going to be a lot of destruction, and there's going to be a lot of creation. It's time for we, the people, to grow up, to assume our co-creative capacity with our true, authentic, original Creator, and remake every aspect of this cultural, the world, in love. And that's a huge task, but that's what's going to have to happen, and that's what will happen.
All right,
but it's not going to happen in 10 seconds.
Once these entities that have been plaguing us for thousands of years are gone, what would be stopping another group of entities or extraterrestrials from coming to this planet and doing the same thing all over again?
Well, there's nothing to say that could not happen. But hopefully we'll be a lot more prepared, and we'll see it for what it is, and we won't wait several million eons before we wake up to that fact. But no, I mean, it's not like, it's all going to be sweetness and light, and they're all gone, and no one can ever... No, some from some remote part of the solar system could come in, or, and try that stuff. It could happen.
We've got about 2 minutes left. I'd like to give you this opportunity for the next minute to tell the X-Zone Nation what they should know and what they could do to make this a better world.
Be locally, be the love, be the light, go out, do, help people, enjoy, be happy, find an inner calm and an inner peace in your soul. Do what it takes to be the solution. Because when you're the light and the darkness comes, a lot of people are full of darkness, but when they see you being a light, then they're going to up frequency. They need role models. Do the inner work. Get yourself to really be the light, not the BS version of the light. Your presence is the change that will create the waves of ascension, whatever you want to call it, of healing. Each one of us in our own little ways, in our own little communities, are the solution, are the answer. We don't have to be the big, important Kuba. Each one of us is a light, and we're creating a huge field of light by showing up and being the love and being the light and doing the inner work and coming to peace with ourselves, learning what it means to be at peace with ourselves, and like that. Yeah.
Sienna, I want to thank you ever so much for joining us tonight. It's been a great pleasure talking to you, and I hope that I have the opportunity of speaking to you again in the future.
That would be great. And thank you so much for having me. Blessings to all of you.
Blessings to you too, Sienna. And X-Zone Nation, Sienna's website is shadowsynthesis.com. She's the author of Stealing the Moon, A Woman's Quest to Heal the Shadow Self. I'll be back on the other side of the top of the hour as hour number 2 of the X-Zone commences, right here on the X-Zone Broadcast Network from our center and studios in St. Catharines, Ontario, Canada, on your hometown radio, Classic 1220, and streamed around the world on classic1220.ca.